I'm joined now by Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. And Senator, your reaction to the dismissal of James Comey?
Well, let's put it in a little context. Remember, Sally Yates was acting attorney general, and one of the things she told the Trump administration was that his inner circle advisor, Flynn, was compromised by the Russians, and she gets fired. Preet Bharara is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. He's the one who has jurisdiction over any investigation into what happened at Trump Tower. And after Donald Trump originally embraced him and said he wanted to keep him on, Preet gets fired. And now it turns out that James Comey, who says he has an active and ongoing investigation, will not rule out investigating Donald Trump directly and the connection with the Trump campaign and the Russians. And now James Comey gets fired. You put those together and it's pretty clear what's going on here. Donald Trump doesn't want anyone coming any place close to an active investigation into the relationship between the Russians, the Trump campaign, and Donald Trump himself.
Rod Rosenstein is now the Deputy Attorney General, and were there to be a special prosecutor appointed, it would be under his power because Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, has recused himself. Do you believe a special prosecutor should be appointed by the Deputy Attorney General?
Absolutely. We need a special prosecutor right now. I mean, yes, he needs to announce he's going to do it this evening and figure out who the right person is and then have a special prosecutor. Look, the only way we go forward here is if we've got someone who's independent, who's going to conduct a transparent investigation into what's going on. We've had enough of the partisanship here. This is now something that matters to every single American. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is, whether you have no political affiliation at all. What matters as Americans is that we need to get to the bottom of this question of what is the relationship between Donald Trump and the Russians. We need to know that as Americans. And now that Trump has fired 3 people directly and his own Attorney General has recused himself from having anything to do with the investigation because he lied to Congress about his own relationship with the Russians, the American people want us to get to the bottom of this. We must get to the bottom of this, and that starts with an independent prosecutor.
So I want to present to you the substantive case the White House is making here and get your reaction to it. So what they are saying, if you read the Deputy Attorney General's letter, it is actually a condemnation of James Comey's conduct that aligns quite closely with what I heard from Democrats, prominent and not so prominent, and the Clinton campaign about his conduct, the decision to arrogate to himself the unilateral ability to make these determinations, to offer his judgments on her conduct. This is, the director was wrong to usurp the Attorney General's authority on July 5th, 2016, and announce his conclusion, as I'll recall, that the case should be closed without prosecution. They're basically saying this is a substantive critique of him essentially going rogue during the campaign, and that means that he's no longer fit to serve because he still says it's the right thing to do, and the Attorney General and the President agree, and they're saying, don't Democrats agree? You guys have been calling for his head forever.
Comey was not fired because of Hillary. Comey was fired because of the Russians. The timing makes this, I think, entirely clear. The fact that all during the campaign, Donald Trump kept citing Comey and using Comey. Once he was elected, he embraced Comey. And now to turn around months later and say, oh, yeah, that was just terrible. Nah, come on. There's nobody left in America who believes that Donald Trump fired James Comey in order to try, because James Comey was mean to Hillary Clinton. That's, you know, there's a lot that Donald Trump says that makes you, yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, but so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. I mean,
sure.
At one level, there's precedent for this. Bill Clinton was the last president to terminate a FBI director. It's within the powers of the president. It's a 10-year term. There's some independence, but they do serve at the pleasure of the president. The president can fire them. So, how big a deal is this?
It is a big deal. In fact, I think that's the only time an FBI director has been terminated. And that FBI director was terminated not because of any ongoing investigation. He was terminated for ethics violations. And so terminating someone because they have behaved in ways that are ethics violations, yes, of course. But that's, you know, in a sense, though, that really is the point here, isn't it? No one is above the law. The director of the FBI is not above the law. But here's the point. The President of the United States is not above the law. And if there is a relationship between Trump, his campaign, and the Russians, then the American people need to know about that. And if it is not lawful or was not lawful, then we also need to know about that. No one in America is above the law, and that includes Donald Trump.
It seems to me that in this context, in terms of how the Constitution deals with possible lawlessness by the president, and not saying that's been established, there's a political question at the heart of this, which is that you're going to need Republicans to come to the same conclusion that you have, whether it's in the confirmation of the next person to lead the FBI, whether it's in the possibility of some sort of legislation that would create an independent prosecutor. Do you think that's a possibility?
You know, there are some moments that transcend politics, and I think this is one of them. This is a moment when all of us should care, whether we're Democrats or Republicans. And this is true in the House, in the Senate, and all across this country. We need an independent investigation into Donald Trump's relationship to the Russians, an investigation that all of us can believe in, an investigation that is not shaped by one political point of view or another, an independent, transparent investigation. Even Donald Trump's most ardent supporters should want that. There should not be a cloud hanging over the White House about how Donald Trump is tangled up with Russian oligarchs. What we need now is an independent investigation, and I hope that all of my colleagues in Congress will call on the Deputy Attorney General to appoint a special prosecutor right now. He said during his confirmation hearings that if called upon, if the circumstances warranted, that he was ready to do that. He was prepared to do it. That's what the law puts in place for him to do now that the Attorney General has been blocked out from any part of this process. So let's get it. Let's do it right now. Let's have an independent special prosecutor, someone who can pursue this all the way down and find out exactly what the relationship is between Trump and the Russians. We all want to know the answer to this.
All right, Senator Elizabeth Warren, thank you for making time tonight. I appreciate it. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.